Good morning. I am so glad to connect with you guys this morning. I am Lachelle Atkins, also known as America's Supermom, mother of 15 children. I am a chaos crusher. I help you to navigate through the chaos and overwhelm of everyday life. Trust me, I get a lot of experience with this with 10 of our 15 children that still live at home. But I help you to navigate through that chaos and transform it into clarity and confidence with a smile. So I recently started these weekly conversations around things that really help us with our personal development. And so as I was thinking about what am I going to talk about, today, I thought let's just dive into my book, right? Do you want to be whole? 7 steps to living mass free. So today we're going to be talking about awareness. So one of the steps that I believe is very important in transforming our lives and our story is awareness, right? You cannot solve a problem if you are not aware of the problem, right? You're just going to keep on functioning past it, making excuses, making room for it, until you're done with that and you want something different. And so I was thinking about what was I going to talk about. I just thought about how many patterns do we have that we just keep on allowing to be a pattern. They're not really serving us. We just keep on doing it. We think we really don't have a choice to do something different. And we just find ourselves in the same places. One of the things that just reminds me about moving ahead and looking forward is Facebook, right? So I get these reminders or memories that pop up, and it's from things that happened in the past. And it's just a reminder that, okay, what have I accomplished since this last memory? For me, it's really a lot of transformation because I look at my children, and some of those memories, some of them weren't even born, some of them were, what stage of life were they at? How they've changed now. I have a daughter who just turned 19 over the weekend. And it's just been just kind of surreal to see. Oh my gosh, I remember when I graduated from high school. I remember I was a freshman in college, and now she's at that space. And I really feel like I'm not that old, but as I see that I have a daughter who's 31, I have a son who's 33. I'm like, okay, my time is not just standing still. I am getting older. Okay. So I need to face the music. But when we're thinking about awareness, it can be scary, right? The first time we're thinking, oh my gosh, what am I going to be aware about? If I am aware, does that mean I have to change everything immediately? Who else knows this secret thing that I'm aware of? I mean, it's just a number of things that happen. However, one thing I could say is that if you want to take control of your life and your outcomes, you need awareness, right? You need to sit down with yourself. You need to really reflect. For myself, I went through a period of 13 years of depression, 3 hospitalizations because I didn't take that time. I was so busy pouring into my kids, pouring into my husband, community, all these things that were like distractions, intentional distractions from really recognizing that I needed to spend some more time with myself. And so for many of us, we have so many negative things that we're thinking on a loop, right? That we don't really want to spend time with ourselves. So we're thinking, oh my gosh, I want more of that. Matter of fact, I'm trying to avoid it, right? I just don't want to be focused on the negative. And if I just sit there and quiet, I feel like that's all I'm going to hear. However, it is really a different story. When we're able to sit down, first thing I would recommend is that you write what you're thinking. Now, for many people, that's even scary, but it separates you from your thoughts, right? So if you are able to write down what you're thinking, you can see the disconnect with some of the things. You could see that some of these things don't even make sense, right? We normally, when we're having these thoughts or these ideas or whatever that's happening that's not positive, we really don't want to tell them to anybody, right? So we isolate ourselves. We just kind of get into this corner. I'm not saying this physical corner, but you're in this corner where you are just on this loop, this treadmill of the same things being said to yourself over and over again. And so when you see something that pops up outside of you that reinforces what you're thinking, you just keep yourself on that wheel. Just raising my hand, been there, done that. And it just doesn't serve you to do things that way. So you have to have a pattern interrupt. Now, I'm not a doctor, psychologist, psychiatrist, any of that. So I recommend that if you do have some issues that keep going and you can't get past them, I recommend that you contact somebody that can help you with this. But I'm just sharing my story. And my story was I just kept doing the same thing every day. Oh, it's going to be a great day. But what was I doing to make the day great? Right? It's not like you get this red carpet rolled out for you and your day just ends up being magical. You have to put the things in place in order for you to have the magic, right? I don't really even know if I want to say magic, but you get my point. It's just like bliss, peace, calm, just feeling like you're empowered. You have freedom to do what you want within reason, right? So these things don't happen without a plan, without you infusing them in your daily routine. So for me, I realized that I didn't have any me time. I didn't start off my day filling up my cup. I just didn't. I was really pouring every day from an empty cup. And so I thought, well, when I go to bed at night, that's me refueling, right? That's me getting what I need for the next day. And it was not true because the things that I needed, I was waiting on other people to provide for me. And it wasn't until I took accountability that I said, hey, you know what? I'm gonna have to do something for me because everybody else is doing what they need for them. What is my problem? Right. So today we're talking about awareness, and I want to make these short because um, I just want to give you some food for thought, something this week that you could think about when it comes to awareness, just laying it out there, right? One thing about writing it down is you could tear it up, throw it away, nobody would be the wiser. However, you have more clarity, right? So, with this thing with awareness, I start every chapter with a quote. And so this quote says, forgiveness is letting go of the hope that the past could have been any different. Now, that's from Oprah. And so often we lose time and waste time thinking, oh my gosh, if I didn't do it this way or if I didn't do it that way, things would be so different. You don't know that. The issue is it didn't turn out that way, right? You can't go back and change anything in the past. So why are you thinking about it? And the reason why that's a problem is because when we think about the past, we're stuck there, right? It's already done, it's over with, and life is passing you by because you're not conscious and present right now. So you're over here wishing that you can change something about the past, but the only power you have is in the present to do something for a different future. So, for example, if I'm a farmer and I want to harvest, I have to take the time now and plant seeds so over time I can reach that harvest. So hopefully that makes sense. So it's the same thing in our own life. You have to decide today what you want to get out of your tomorrows, right? So if you have children and you want a better relationship, what seeds are you planting in order to reap that? Are you just saying it, but not putting anything in practice? Maybe eating out with them once a month, and it doesn't have to be always about money, but, playing a game with them. Uh, Getting them on a phone call if they don't live with you, or if they do, spending time together, doing something uninterrupted, 30 minutes, 15 minutes, start small. Is that something that you could do? Are you sending text messages? maybe FaceTiming, right? These are little steps that we could take in order to change that narrative, right? If you want to save, if you want an expected outcome for some product, service, whatever, what are you doing today to get towards that? See, it's not the amount, the time, the money. It is the habit that you create and the discipline around it. So if I want to save, let me start off possibly saving $1 a week. Now, I'm using these numbers so that you can see over time it grows. So you want to make something so small that it seems ridiculous not to do, right? So if I want to save $1,000 for Christmas, because it is coming up, y'all. I want to think we might have like 95 days or something, maybe 94. I don't know. You can verify that. But so when you're thinking about Christmas, for example, we're getting ready to approach October. Maybe you want to save $1,000 for Christmas gifts or something, or for some activity for the holidays. So that sounds like a good number. But how have you been saving the rest of the year? Right? We can't set ourselves up for something big that we haven't created a system or a discipline around it. So it might be better for us to say, I want to raise $100 for Christmas. That's something that I want to do for myself. I want to see that I can accomplish it. So we start off with $1 a week, right? Now I'm saying $1 a week because what we can do is once we get the discipline, then it's easy for us to say, you know what, I have more than $1 this week. I'm gonna do $3. I'm gonna do $5. It's so much easier to go up than it is to go down, right? Because if you had a goal of I'm gonna save $100 a week, and you didn't have $100, we don't have this instinct to say, well, I only have 50, so I'm gonna just say 50. We think, I didn't meet that goal. We beat ourselves up. We don't do it. We spend that $50 on something else. And then the next week we think we're going to do better. So it's better to start small and then you can exceed it because you feel better about that. So if my goal was to raise $1 a week and I'm like, you know what, let me just put $10 in here. And then the next week it's like, wow, I'm gonna put $20 in there. You feel good because you're exceeding your goal, right? So we're the ones that set the goalposts. A lot of times we get that confused. We try to compare ourselves to other people who might have been saving. That may be their habit, right? They may not purchase certain things that we purchase. And so we think because they're doing it, we can do it. Not to say that we can't, but we don't know all the facts around what they're doing. We don't know, if they chose not to eat out or have some other association to raising this money. So, this is why we have to start where we are and know what motivates us. Okay. Now, I love this quote from Oprah because she's talking about you're letting go of the hope that the past could have been any different. Really, when you're in this state of looking at the past, you're hopeless, right? Because it's not achievable, right? You're in the past, you're thinking you could change it. It's just like a groundhog day of nonsense because it's just not possible. So when we put our hope in today, we have the power to use that energy for something that can produce something different in the future. So hopefully that makes sense. I'm trying to stay on point, y'all, because I can get off on a tangent with an illustration. But I'm going to read a little bit from my book, okay? And it also has the soundtrack with two of my kids. They are musicians, and you get a QR code in a point of the book, and you can click that code and listen to their playlist. All right, so I'm just going to read, just take out a uh, part of this. Okay. So we'll just go to this third paragraph. Seeing how receptive people were to curiosity created a hunger for honesty rather than pretending to be someone I was not. The more I shared, the more I found that I was not alone with my past and the obstacles that I encountered on my journey. It was at that moment that I appreciated my journey and used it as fuel for my passion. My passion is sharing strategies to women and moms on how they can have all they desire without the expense of their health. So I was able to get that clarity by having that moment of awareness, right? So I had been pretending to be somebody I wasn't. I don't know if any of you guys know about that, wearing these masks, having a smile, but behind it, things were crazy, right? That was pretty much my life for a long time because I had these unrealistic expectations about having this future or this present that just was not obtainable, right? I wanted to be perfect in everyone's eyes. I wanted to say the right thing. I wanted to do the right thing. And it was so much pressure because every different place where I showed up, I had a different mask. So just imagine if you feel like you have to be in costume, right? And I just use this analogy because I'm talking about masks, but first you would have to carry all the masks with you because you never know which one you may need. So you've got these masks and you are trying to scope out the scene before you get there. And sometimes you get there, you feel like you got the wrong mask on, so you got to go find a place to put on the other mask. And, it's just exhausting, right? So I'm being a little silly about the example. But the point is, this is what we're doing internally, right? Internally, we are trying to fit in. This was my story. This may not be yours, but this hopefully from my story, you can learn something, right? So I'm not all the way there. I'm looking at the cues of other people to determine which mask to put on. So it was a period of just being numb, right? Not really having any emotion or feeling for myself, but it was always looking at other people to get the cue from them on how I should be showing up. And so that's a life that's exhausting. That's a life where you're not really engaged. You're just existing. You just are trying to make it through an hour, through a day, through a month, with really no plans. Now, everybody else's goals were my goals. And I thought because I was facilitating a lot of that I was a part of it, but I wasn't, right? I was just over here, just having this Groundhog Day experience. And so, as I started to open up about my story, I realized that I wasn't alone. I realized that other people were having the same issue. And when I thought, oh my gosh, I don't want to tell people my story. What are they going to think? This is crazy. I should have it all together because I come from the beginning of my existence feeling like I was a high achiever, all the way from as far back as I can remember. So I just had this expectation that, I'm a high achiever. I'm supposed to know everything. Just, you know, a life of craziness, and it showed up in me being the one that had to go to the hospital, me being the one that went through this depression because I was doing all these things at the expense of my health. So when you have awareness, you have to realize what is it that you are planting, right? If you are seeing the same thing over and over again, what are you doing about that? Right? When we learn to examine and reflect on things, we realize that we can take our power back. We can decide at that point, look, I don't want this anymore. Okay, I'm changing the narrative. I'm going to do something different because this is not serving me anymore. And so that is what this time with you has been about is awareness. So today's question is, what are some things that are happening in your life that you want to change? Are they your lack of time with personal development? Is it your weight? Is it your relationships? Is it your job? Is it some habits that you want to break? What does that look like? Begin to write it down and think about what have you done to change it? When we begin to write things down, write down some things that just are like normal. They feel like they're just part of who you are, right? Is it, that you arrive late places? Is it that you don't get up on time, right? Or you don't pour into yourself in the morning, right? And so think about for yourself how these things resonate, how they keep showing up, because you can begin to look at them once you write them down and say, you know what? I choose not to do this anymore. So I don't know where to begin, but I'm going to start with baby steps and I'm going to stop this narrative because it's never too late. So I was on Facebook yesterday and there's this lady who started acting at age 88, and her role was in the Black Panther. So she was the matriarch, and now she's famous for being in the Black Panther movie. And she started at 88. So it's never too late. It's never too late to change your story. It's never too late to have the life that you desire. It's just up to you to start designing it and not allowing other people to do it for you. So that was a hard lesson I had to learn. I'm thinking would have some kind of superhero or somebody that was going to rescue me for the things that I wanted to have, and it just didn't happen. I had to learn to do it myself. And so, as you think about, your own story, your own journey, what is it that you need to do to change that narrative? So, again, this is the book. Do you want to be whole? 7 Steps to Living Mass Free. All right. You can get this on Amazon, or you can reach out to me if you want a signed copy. I would be happy to sign it and send it to you, so you could have it. So I just want to thank those of you that were able to join me this morning. Again, I'm a work in progress. I got up and I was a few minutes late because my computer wasn't on, and that whole thing. But I am excited to spend this time with you. And again, we talked about awareness, and I plan on going through these 7 steps. So that's step one is awareness. And we'll go through this, and then I don't know what I'm going to do next. I just think I love being able to express my thoughts and ideas in a place where I could be held accountable, right? Sometimes we have these thoughts and we just have them with ourselves, and we never really have that accountability to change things that are happening to us, for us, however you want to say it, right? So I'm happy to be here and spend time. And I am very active on Clubhouse and on LinkedIn. I have audio rooms there. So if you would like to connect and hear more from some of my insights, please follow me on Clubhouse and LinkedIn. So, with that being said, have a phenomenal Sunday. Enjoy the rest of your week. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.